All right, let's. Ooh, hell yeah! I've been waiting for this one. Number 34.
Number 34. Alrighty. Confirmation bias, one of the most powerful forces in the human experience. A fallacy of logos, the common tendency to notice, search out, select, and share evidence that confirms one's own standpoint and beliefs, as opposed to contrary evidence.
So
This
you and I had a conversation about this before, and I'll talk to you about this later. But in one of our recordings, there was a portion where we had like an hour and a half just talking about like personal stuff, but within that was a chunk where we talked about falsifiability and evidence. And with your permission, I would like to include just that part into the recording because I think some major breakthroughs were in there, and one of them was again, we can talk about it later if you're opposed to that. But you said like one of the things I need to do is look for evidence, and I'm like, no, you need to look for evidence contrary because just looking for evidence and support is confirmation bias because you can look you will find support in anything that you're looking for. You need to try to actively disprove it, and when you cannot disprove it because everything is lining up, then you're like, okay, I have to consider that this is most likely correct rather than incorrect.
Hmm, it's interesting. Yeah. It's like I find that I like that perspective. And there's reason why we talked about it for so long. Yeah. Should I keep going?
Yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to focus on like just that sentence that it's not enough to look for evidence uh in support of whatever you think. That's
Yep.
not enough. You need to try to prove it wrong. That's the scientific method.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that a lot. It's like why, yeah, because if you can find one article that proves you right, but if there's 50 articles that prove you wrong, you're like, nope, I saw it on this blog one time, therefore it's true. Yeah.
Especially in this world now where
Yeah.
like the evidence for anything. Like an article isn't enough. It's just some loser who wrote something online. Like it doesn't an
Yep.
article doesn't mean fuck all.
Yeah. No, totally. This fallacy is how fortune tellers work. If I am told I will meet a blank tall dark stranger, I will be on the lookout for a tall dark stranger. And when I meet someone even marginally meeting that description, I will marvel at the correctness of the psychic's prediction. In contemporary times, confirmation bias is most often seen in the tendency of various audiences to, quote, curate their political environments, subsisting on one-sided information diets, and even selecting into politically homogenous neighborhoods. Confirmation bias, and that there's a site for that claim. Confirmation bias also homophily,
I
I
think it's
guess.
homophily.
Homophily, okay, means that people tend to seek out and follow solely those media outlets that confirm their common ideological and cultural biases, sometimes to a degree that leads the false, implicit, or even explicit conclusion that everyone agrees with that bias and that anyone who doesn't is crazy, loony, evil, or even radicalized. See also half-truth and defensiveness. This one's, dude. I mean, that's what I mean. It's insanely powerful. Um, there was a there was a video that I watched, and I did not grab the study, so I can't say this is a cited fact. However, in this video, what the person claimed was that studies are showing that there's an increase number in narcissistic personality disorder cases that are happening across the United States. And it, I think genuinely what really scares me, and I don't know what the solve is for this, but it's the phones. I feel like a phone is just one big confirmation bias machine. It's just like giving people
The
hits of
internet.
their No, like, well, we'll say social media. It's actually better. But it's like social media, it's just like constantly showing you what you want to see all the time. It's just like, what does this person want to see?
Sure, but also Google does that. So I would just say the internet, it's because of cookies. Cookies, like there's certain words that
So
it's like, you know what I mean?
I know what a cookie is, but I think it's so when you said no, I'm not telling you to stop talking. What I was saying was out of context. That's such a funny story, or that's such a funny statement. If someone doesn't know what cookies are, the reason this happens is because of cookies. Like you could have said, the reason this happens is because of rocks.
Okay, can you explain to the audience what cookies are?
I actually, all I know is that when you go to different websites, cookies store information about what you looked at and how to load the website more effectively. So it just tracks all of your behavior so that they can give you more of that in different places, essentially, is what I understand a cookie to be.
Yeah, yeah. So, most websites will use cookies via text. So if you on Facebook, there's a status about McDonald's, whether it be good or bad, and you comment or like or dislike or whatever the hell, or it doesn't matter. The fact that you interacted with that, the key word being McDonald's, it thinks that that's an attention grabber for you. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It just it knows that you interact with that thing, and so it's going to keep showing you it over and over again. YouTube does this as well, but YouTube takes it even further because websites like YouTube know they have voice to text stuff in it where like they have auto captions, and those auto captions when they scan the whole video also count as cookies. And this used to not be a thing, but I think this was introduced maybe 4 or 5 years ago. um, the the website of YouTube, we learned that nowhere in the title or the description or the comments were these phrases, but these phrases were only in the video, and the video would show up in searches from that. So we know, and it was just because the subtitles caught that word, whatever the word is, and so yeah, now simply just listening to something, um, and also your phone microphone will do it too. Now, I don't know how recent that is, but I think that might be like also around the same time, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where simply just the words you're saying next to your phone, whether it be iPhone or Android, doesn't matter. It used to be only iPhone, now it's also Android. Um, they create cookies just by you talking. So yeah, no, it's yes, it is your phone, but it's also like it's the whole freaking internet. It's yeah. So it feeds into confirmation bias, which already was a problem. So now it's just like that on steroids.
Oh yeah, well, it's like because you know, some like flat Earth as an example, it's like someone can believe wholeheartedly that flat Earth is a real thing. And if they were at all doubtful, they then go and see 150,000 videos of people who are not only trying to prove that it's true, but also like convicted, like people who are like, no, this is real and here's why. It's like it just hijacks so much of our system. It's like it
Have you
genuinely sends shivers up my spine.
yeah, have you heard about the flat Earth final experiment that just took place?
No.
Um, some very, very rich man wanted to stop this nonsense once and for all. And so he uh went to these big flat Earth YouTubers, and he's like, hey, I will pay for you to come to Antarctica, and I will show you that there is a 24-hour sun there. Um, and if there is, the flat Earth model predicts that that's impossible. That they would have to concede that the Earth is not flat, and all these a lot of flat earthers denied going, but some did because they were truly convinced there was no way that the sun was going to do that, and they went there, and indeed the sun spun around them for 24 hours for 3 days straight. You couldn't deny it anymore, and they're like, look, I really believed in this thing, but I the sun did what was predicted by science. And
Yep.
I just can't. And immediately when they said evidence shows me otherwise, all the other flat earthers that chose not to go were like, see, they were hired by NASA, some crazy bullshit. And they're like, no, I still believe in all the other parts of flat earth. And but no, they were shunned. They were shunned. It was in group out group bias, which is part of confirmation bias.
Oh yeah. It's wild. It's a scary thing, man. That's it for me. It's the debate on like, do you give kids phones? When do you give them phones? I can't like that to me is like it's such a complicated debate.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think, especially someone who's not a parent, I don't think I have much to comment on that. But like, also, there's phones around you all the time. Like, I think at this point, there's just no escaping it. So I'll just like accept it. Like, you can, fist me all you want, government. Like, okay, that part doesn't scare me that much. It's just like, the rough changes that are going on. So confirmation bias is truly the opposite of science. It's you need to look for reasons why you think something um is not true, rather than the opposite. Oh, which reminded me, I was going to bring it up until now, um but Alan, do you mind if I challenge you on not a sincerely held deep belief, but one of the beliefs that you have that you shared with me a little while ago? Are you open to being challenged?
I'm open to being challenged. I don't know what belief you're wanting to talk about, so it's difficult
It's
for me
gonna
to
sound silly when I say it, but
Okay.
there was something you said or we talked about so long ago. The fallacy was appeal to nature, and we were talking about the specific claim of like pH level being altered in your bloodstream.
Yeah. Acidity.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So in your body, yeah, that goes up and down. In your bloodstream, no, it's not possible. Um, and I posted my findings on Facebook, which I'm surprised you actually didn't see. So this was a long time ago. And
You're gonna follow up
and what's that?
I was gonna ask you about it actually.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So I posted about it, and it was a simple Google search of just like, is it possible for pH in your blood to change? Is like what I Googled, and then first of all, the AI is like, hell no, and then cited a bunch of things, and then I went to those things, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is bogus. Like there's no way. And then someone the reason I posted on Facebook is because I want to be proven wrong. Maybe AI has it wrong, and I want to be proven wrong. So I posted on Facebook, and someone did indeed comment, and they're like, "Hey, no, uh, pH in your blood can change." And I'm like, "Okay, tell me, prove it. Can you cite any source?" And the person's like, "Well, I'm a nurse, and that should be a source." And I'm like, that's technically argument from authority, but like, yes, you will more likely know better than I do. So interesting. But like, if you could just provide any source, that would be great. And he's like, I'm too lazy to do it now, but I will later. But because this dude said nurse, the cookie of nurse went to all the nurses on my Facebook. And so a bunch of other nurses commented on it and they're like, no, you're full of shit. Your blood absolutely cannot be affected by pH. This dude's full of shit. You might be a nurse, but you should fucking know that, dude. Like if your pH changes, you're gonna fucking die. Like there's no way. And then there's like there is medical conditions to show what happens if it's too high or too low, and it's like this is so rare, and if it changes even slightly, like you would know and you would be in the hospital.
The question that I
Like
have for you is on the acidity part, you said not the blood, but yes, the body. Can you help me understand how it works?
fuck do I know, dude. But the claim that you made was specifically blood, so I looked into that one. But overall body, I don't
Yeah.
know. I need to do more Googling, but specifically blood, absolutely not possible.
Okay.
Like the claim was like, because the AI said no, it's not possible for you to change the pH level in your blood due to diet. And this first guy who said he was a nurse was like, see, like if you eat enough baking soda, like your blood pH level will change. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if we have the same definition of diet, but if your diet includes eating an entire box of baking soda, I think we're equivocating here. And
Yeah.
then he did concede. He's like, very well. That is rather ridiculous. So
Well, here's yeah, what I'm definitely curious about how you mentioned like blood versus body. So the reason genuinely that that this I'm curious about this and want to know what you find is that specifically Tony Robbins, who I have attended 14 events of his, the guy is, for reference, he has access because of who he is and what he does, and also the kind of money that he has access to some of the most accurate and how would I put this? Yeah, just accurate, most powerful health information to date. Like one little thing that he has conditioned his body to do through his own regiment of working with experts to be able to make sure that he can do what he does at 65 years old, which is, by the way, when I say what he does, I mean speaking with intense levels of energy output, passion, excitement, sustained for 14 hours straight without drinking water, without going to the bathroom, just like making it happen. The man burns 11,000 calories every time he walks on stage. And this is all measured completely by real-time monitoring systems, but also through other tests that have been done on him and his body periodically throughout the process, on his hormone levels, calorie burning, everything. And so the piece about acidity impacting one's body comes directly from him and his events, where there has been evidence to support it. Do I know if it was talking specifically about blood or not? Clearly it wasn't, because you found information that says blood's no. But I do get interested in the part where you say body yes, blood no, because I'd be curious, like
I'm
what
sorry.
part.
I said I if I did say that, I think I misspoke. I don't know whether or not body, yes or no. But blood, absolutely not. Like you would die. There's no
Okay.
fucking way.
Yeah, so it definitely it makes me curious though, because it's a man who is literally speaking to quite literally millions of people and shares this information with those people with 100% confidence that it's accurate.
Yeah.
And so I'm
So
very
I
interested in
do
learning
want to
more.
mention because if Tony Robbins said blood, um, there's so much information, or excuse me, there's so much misinformation out there, that is fueled by confirmation bias, and that's why I want to bring this up here
Yeah,
because Tony Robbins is not immune from confirmation bias.
sure.
Um, he might be wrong if he said blood. He's objectively incorrect. Um, maybe he said something else. I don't know, but like whatever it is, I've talked to people that when it comes to health, it's there's so much confirmation bias, and there's no testing for placebo. Um, so for example, I was talking to someone about like a food that they were eating. This was a long time ago, and they're like, "I know it's better for me because I tasted it and it made me feel better." And I'm like, "Okay, have you given the same thing to somebody else, but then actually not give the thing to them and just give them a sugar cube? Have you tested for placebo, like against the thing?" And if it's only no, I liked it, it made me feel good. Okay, great. If it does, then cool. But like if you're gonna say that like this absolutely like changes things, and you're not testing against placebo, placebo is the like one of the most powerful things. You can literally like heal yourself with placebo. If you think you're getting healed, you will be. So know that and use placebo to heal yourself on a regular basis. Um, that coupled along with confirmation bias are like the two biggest things in science, or that are anti-science that are constantly tested against. And so it's very important if you're trying a food, um, you need to run tests by giving half of the subjects the actual food and half of the subjects not the actual food, and seeing how they feel. And yes, after the experiment, tell them that yes, this was placebo. and then weigh the differences. If you give somebody a special food that's supposed to make them feel better, and the people who got the real thing say they feel 70% better, and the people who didn't get the real thing say they feel 60% better, then you can say this makes you feel 10% better, right? But if placebo matches that of the people that got the actual food, then it does nothing at all. That's the scientific method. You need to actively try to prove yourself wrong, not just confirm what you would like to believe to be true. Confirmation bias.
I totally,
Number
yeah,
34.
I totally agree with you 100%. I'm not arguing against what you're sharing. To me, it's the, and even if it's, I mean, like I
That
have
wasn't really directed towards you. It's just like my
in general.
frustration with the
Yeah.
world.
No, I know you're passionate about it. It's okay. Um, and I love the passion that you have. To me, it's like there's, I'll put it this way now. I'll use my own personal experience. Um, I can't speak super heavily to the like acidity thing. What I can tell in terms of my own personal experience, what I can tell is when I'm dehydrated and not hydrated. That every time I can tell, I feel weird, I feel different. But one thing I will say is like things like, as an example, cleansing, allowing the body to reset itself, to stop putting things in it that would otherwise cause it problems, give it complete ability to reset itself. I've seen humongously good results from that always in my own body.
I've only seen uh evidence of placebo of that.
It's
I would
interesting.
really like it to be true. But from the scientific communicators that focus on nutrition and otherwise, uh, they really just say it's placebo. And they're like, look, placebo works. If you do it and it makes you feel good and you like the thing you're eating, go ahead and do it. That's fine. But if you're going to say that, like, this is scientifically proven and you're not testing for confirmation bias or placebo effect, then it's not science.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, it's interesting to me. The reason I find it interesting is because of how much benefit has happened in my body, especially over the past. I've gotten very quote unquote very serious about doing things that are supportive for my body in the last 4 months,
Yeah.
and I feel younger than I probably ever have in my entire life up until this point.
So I encourage you to seek test against, see if that is placebo or not. Because Alan, think about what it means if it is placebo to you. What does
Yeah,
that mean? Because that means you can do that by your fucking self. That
yeah,
means that it's the Dumbo magic feather,
yeah.
like placebo. And from all the research that I've shown, cleansings absolute completely placebo. Like there's fuck all behind it. Um, I've yet to see any of them actually like come through. Um, because if it does, then it would just be considered medicine. But yeah, I would like to see it. And anytime that I've seen people do it, it's always been frickin' confirmation bias. No actual testing against placebo.
Did you
And
look up? Did you look up Dr. Mark Hyman, the guy I talked to you about?
oh man, I haven't yet. I feel weird about promoting people on the channel that I can't confirm are like
Yeah, yeah,
legit.
yeah, yeah. You don't. We don't. I'm not gonna
Okay.
say
He might be
for.
legit, he might not be. I don't know.
He's out of all the, I'll put it this way, out of all the people that I've read that, because I've read some books by some people where there's no source. In fact, even in the book themselves, they say science hasn't found this yet, but I have. And I'm like, okay, but how? Like that stuff is
Yeah,
stuff that,
no, that's major red flags. If
yeah.
science hasn't
Yeah,
found
yeah,
it and you have, then what you're doing isn't fucking science, you
yeah, yeah,
bullshit
yeah.
artist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like that to me, that stuff is stuff that I raise an eyebrow at and I get confused on. But this guy, Dr. Mark Hyman, he's he was citing, I was just reading one of his books and there was citing studies all over the place on stuff he was saying, and I've been following that advice and it seems to have been helping. So I'm curious because it's a lot of health related stuff. I feel like if you are looking in this field, I consider him a credible source to take a look at in your search.
Very well.